on Friday the 21st, I went to the Pokemon World Championships because, well, it's right on my hometown, so why the heck not? And I made a video about, what does it look like, the World Championships, so there you go, watch that if you want. But on that, it's kind of funny how, I found out, about the whole, Pokken Tournament championships that are going on. So I got to, take a look to see who was battling upon the freaking Pokken Tournament. And it's kind of weird because, I thought that after the tournament was over, people can, battle on those arcade machines that they're using it for the tournament. But it turns out that it was at a different place. I didn't knew that. So, long story short, I got to play Pokken Tournament. So, I got to play Pokken Tournament. I only did, a few matches. I think it was, 6, I think, in total matches. I could be wrong. I don't remember. Maybe 6 or 7. I don't know. But the point is, this is a video talking about my thoughts on Pokken Tournament based on me playing it. Now, my experience of Pokken Tournament differed between when I went on Friday, when I did most of the matches, and the one match I did on Saturday. Because that one match I did on Saturday was kind of a big deal because it changed everything. Okay, so first I'm going to talk about my experiences from Friday. Now, so as you can see, you can see with the Pokken Tournament Championships that the person playing Pikachu won the tournament, and after the second was the person playing Weavile. Now, of course, they were all big name, fighting game people. I think his name was Rip. That was one, and then Justin Wong, who is well known for other games like Marvel 3, who got second place. Now, Marvel 3, I'll get to that later because, yeah, you'll see. But long story short, I decided to give out about partway through round 2, just to see what's going on. So I let Conroy Maryland alone, and went to actually play a Pokken Tournament. Now, after line stuff, that was a pretty long line. Of course, I want to play my favorite Pokemon, so I, played my favorite Pokemon against someone who was playing. I think it was Weavile, and I got destroyed. Why I got destroyed was because the only thing that was shown in English was the main Pokemon specials. So the controls for the game normally were in Japanese, which ticked me on, which means I have no idea what I'm really doing. So I just keep pressing buttons without knowing what they do. So it was pretty annoying. Of course, I was playing Gardevoir, but it was pretty kind of annoying. So the controls that I knew all the way there were: A is to use the basic special, so kind of like in Smash Brothers, where B is the character specialty, which correspond to the characters themselves. A is this for Pokken Tournament. And so the controls, the A, B, X, and Y buttons are in the exact same positions as they were on a Nintendo controller. So just so you know. And there's a D-pad, of course, the start buttons in the middle, and L and R buttons. Yeah. The A is the specials, or the Pokemon moves as they call it. B to jump, which is really annoying because coming from Smash, pressing B to jump is infuriating. Because I'm so used to pressing X to jump, or for me, I like pressing Y to jump because the top button. So where the top button is, I use that to jump normally. So having to press the bottom button to jump it's really annoying to do. And of course, L is used to assist, so I didn't figure out what they do because I wanted to figure out what my assist was. It turns out it was L, so I used L for my assist. R is the block, so people who play, let's say, Smash Brothers, R is in fact the block button as it always was. And then there's X and Y. The buttons X and Y. X, which you do a light attack, and Y do a heavy attack. So it's just like in other fighting games where have light and heavy attacks, except they're all one button, so 2 buttons each. Now, it turns out that L and R are the shoulder buttons. If you press them together, that's where you do your burst mode, or your super mode, or your friggin' Deciduous EX mode, that sort of thing. And pressing the same 2 buttons again while you're into burst mode does your little burst attack, which is your final smash, essentially. Now, the weird thing about it I'll say right now, is that once you do your burst attack, you don't automatically get out of your burst mode. You're still in your burst mode after you use that move, which is kind of weird because like, wouldn't it make sense like even for Dissidia, for Smash, when you use your super, like you got out of your super mode, but you don't. It's weird. Okay, so I played that. I went back in line 3 hours later because after I think it was like about almost 4 p.m. So I had to get out because family matters. And I went back at 7 p.m. and the line was a lot shorter. However, I was one of the last people in line. So me and the person who actually was the last person in line, we snuck in about 5 matches. I think it's about 5 matches. Yeah, me and the guy was snuck in 5 matches because none of the staff were looking because we were in like the farthest cabinet, so nobody looked at us. So snuck in 5 matches. Okay, and I got destroyed because he was playing Machamp, I was playing Gardevoir. Again, I have no idea what I was doing, and the guy's Machamp was pretty good. Okay, because Machamp has a command grab. Because the command grab of the Machamp, like, I try to do whatever I can. I can't block through it because it goes through like in Smash Brothers, the grab goes through blocking. And it's really annoying. However, since when sometimes do like regular attacks, it cancels out the grab, which I find kind of strange. Well, more on that later. And I managed to get 1 win out of him before he beat my Gardevoir 3 times, and then I accidentally picked Lucario because Lucario is like the first character selectable. So I forgot to press right to select Gardevoir. So I said Lucario. Lucario kind of reminds me of Smash a bit because he has a chargeable Aura Sphere. So, but I still got a butt kicked by that guy's Machamp. And on the very last match, I picked Weavile because I wanted to see how Weavile is. Again, I got my butt destroyed because I don't know how to do the ice trapping move that I know Weavile has. So I got destroyed by this guy. Turns out that the guy I got the guy I was facing, he looked familiar because like he looked familiar. He has like a weird ponytail. He kind of looks like weird combination. He has like weird Hispanic like beard and like, but he's like a white guy. It kind of looks like a Hispanic beard. So it turns out that guy is Chris G from Marvel vs. Capcom 3 fame, and I did not know that because like I knew he looked familiar. But then I slowly remembered like who he was. I know he played like a fighting game. I didn't ask who he was because I didn't bother. But apparently he was Chris G. It's like, and I realized now like, oh, I got destroyed by a guy who's a pro in fighting games. No wonder I suck. But yeah, apparently Chris G either really loves Machamp, apparently. So that was my experience with Pokken Tournament on Friday. Most of it was getting destroyed by Chris G's Machamp. Dang. And what I feel about Machamp since I'm doing this? Machamp, I never played Team Fortress 2, but think of the heavy, where like the heavy like is he's big, bulky, he has a ton of HP, and like he hits hard and sort of thing. So that's what the Machamp is. Machamp has like one ranged move, but it's not that good. It's like a really slow ranged move. I mean, a slow projectile move. But he doesn't need any, because he could just like get out of the way, bulk up, and then proceed to immediately wreck you with whatever. And then do his command grab to go through your shield. It's that guy's like Machamp is kind of insane. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Actually, believe it or not, while I was fighting Chris G, I thought that the Machamp's command was broken. I actually thought it was broken because like it was hard for me to get through it because yes, Gardevoir is a ranged character. However, characters in Pokken Tournament can't stay ranged because they're most of the time ranged moves are slow, either slow to execute in the case of Suicune, or slow in general in the case of, let's say, Machamp or Gardevoir or whatever. So you have to go close. And it kind of stinks that if you're far away and you press a light attack, your character will dash forward to do your light attack. So that's pretty much the last place you want to be in front of when you're facing Machamp when you're so far away and you accidentally press the X button. So that's what's my ideas of Machamp. Okay, so on Saturday, I could only had one chance to play, and it was right about I think it was 5 or 6 p.m. I think, I don't remember, somewhere around that time. So I went back. I went to see Pokken Tournament. I got one match. However, that one match, the controls were in English. They changed some of the arcade stuff to make the controls in English. Now, like a scrub, I did not think that they would change the controls to English, so I didn't bring my camera. But they showed the names of what each button does, including something called Kyosei Attack and Kyosei Counter. I think it's pronounced Kyosei, or I think it's spelled pronounced Kyosei, because again, I looked at it and I didn't really pay that much attention to it and didn't take a photo of it because I didn't bring my camera, unfortunately. But so here it is. Now, so you've probably heard that Pokken Tournament has some sort of rock paper scissors mechanic, and I have yet to notice it on the World Championship stream, which I was in front of actually, but I didn't notice it until I noticed the old Kyosei things, in which, for all I know, R is a block. Well, I mentioned that already. This is the guarding. And you notice that the shield is blue. Now note that, okay? Now, if you press Y and B at the same time, you'll perform what is called a Kyosei attack. And what that is that it is a guard breaking move. So, and Machamp's command grab, I don't remember if you used it on the championship stream, but you notice that when Machamp does that, his body also turns green when he does the command grab, which means it also counts as what is called a Kyosei attack, meaning it goes through blocks. And I think Charizard's command grab is the same thing. Okay, so now you know that. Next is the body combination of X and A, which is what the game calls a Kyosei counter. I know it's called something counter. I know that for a fact. And it is basically a counter attack that beats the green Kyosei attacks. Now, I've also, again, as I said earlier against Chris G, when I did a regular attack, or a regular Pokemon attack, it seems to cancel out but not entirely beat the Kyosei attack. So notice that, and your character glows red when it does that, does the Kyosei counter. So, and while I've never seen a Kyosei counter versus a block, I've never seen that, but I can assume that because regular attacks are more or less unsafe on block, I'm going to assume that this Kyosei counter is also, which is a regular attack by the way, it's also unsafe on block. I mean, it makes sense because it probably goes through the whole block, and then Kyosei attack, Kyosei counter, then back to block. That's for all I know, because the game does not list a third thing that beats Kyosei counter. So I'm going to assume that it's block. So that's pretty much what I know about the rock, paper, scissors. I could be completely wrong in this, but given what each of the different moves do, I'm gonna assume that's the rock, paper, scissors mechanic. Now that I've seen the controls and noticed that what each button does, I was able to, my one and only match, I was able to 2-0 a Suicune player like nothing. As God of War, of course. So it turns out that Suicune's only real range moves, Gardevoir can easily outrange because Magical Leaf, which what it does is that it is a guidable, if that's even a word. Like you can guide the individual petals to the opponent. It's not a homing attack, but you can actually track it. You can actually guide it, which is pretty cool. It's kind of like, just think Pit's Palutena, the Pit's Palutena attack, or you can guide the arrow. Think that. Except it's slower in multiple hits than Pit's thing. Just think that. Because Gardevoir has to be in mid-air for it to work, by the way, Gardevoir can just jump to avoid the obvious telling of the Aurora beams, whatever, and just use Magical Leaf. Done. Also, apparently, I noticed like near the end of said 2-0 sweep that apparently I could jump and press the Y button, the heavy attack, and Gardevoir performs a different ranged move. So that made me realize, so maybe you can do your heavy attacks in midair and then do different things. So maybe the same thing is for light attacks. I think maybe like a dash or something. Well, I know. So I 2-0 the Suicune player, did a epic like flourish finish with the Mega Gardevoir, like Mega Gardevoir's like super. And even one of the staff there congratulated me when I was done. It's like, oh, it was a pretty nice win you had. I was like, thanks, and I just left because, well, line's pretty long, and of course I had places to be. So that's it. Now that's all and good. That's pretty much my experience with Pokken Tournament as is. So I don't know like how wrong I'll be once it comes to console, or if I get another chance later on, because the whole like quote unquote Dave and Buster's are probably going to install some arcades in their stores. One of which is close to a mall that Moro and I very infrequently go to. So I'd like to try it out. I've never been to that arcade place, but it's close enough to there. So I'd like to go there if that's a chance, and I'll probably update my my thoughts for Pokken Tournament there. That is if it comes up for a console, then hold the story. Okay, so that's the Pokken Tournament as is. Now, what do I think about Gardevoir? Because I use Gardevoir for pretty much all my matches. So I'll tell you right now. You know how in the World Championship stream of Pokken Tournament, how the guy playing Gardevoir sucked, but it sucked so hard and it got the first of me eliminated? Yeah, that's how odd Gardevoir plays. Like, I thought that the Gardevoir play was kind of sucky, but it turns out that Gardevoir actually is hard to use, especially compared against Rushdown characters, which I'll get into later. So Gardevoir is a strange character to use. Heck, so you can kind of tell over there that Gardevoir's kind of a technical character. Heck, her character type's technique for a reason, right? And the thing is, like I said before, like, even though Gardevoir is more of a ranged user, I feel like Suicune's more so of a ranged user, because Suicune, unlike Gardevoir, has full range attacks, where Gardevoir doesn't really have that much range. Well, it does have range, it's not too much range. But Suicune does have full range, and like the person who actually plays Suicune, pretty much almost nothing but that. So you kind of tell Suicune's more of a range character than Gardevoir is. But however, the thing with Suicune is that Suicune can kind of easily tell that it's gonna so right away it's gonna do some roller beats because it's a long startup. But for Gardevoir's, her attacks go faster, but they're slightly easier to block. But are they safe on block? Kind of, because it's range, so I would say kind of safe on block. But not entirely sure. But her Magical Leaf, her main ranged move, is really good. Now her A button, her neutral A, is slow. It's slow, and I think it initiates the dual phase. However, I can't say for sure, because it's usually like a really hard hit that initiates it, but I don't know about that. Her, when you press back and I think it's back and A and then X, she does Calm Mind, then performs Force Field. But that's pretty much the extent of what I use Gardevoir for. And by the way, her Aerial Heavy, which is press B and Y, she does she throws I think it's five petals kunai style in different directions. That was pretty cool. Now, magical, because distance between the players Pokemon, I nearly always start with Magical Leaf because it's easier to do. It's easier to do at the range I am at the start. So I find it's a really good rival range. You control trajectory. It's cool. Now, I'm gonna say this. Because because I don't know about the controls, I pressed A. I pressed A a lot in my first match because I had no idea what to do because I was scrub. But once I get the hang of it, God of War is kind of like fun to use. I don't know. I find God of War fun to use. But again, it's my favorite Pokemon. Okay, so as much all I can say about God of War is like it's a hard character. I guess it's a bit of a hard character to use because you have to deal with what moves are at what range and when's the best time to use them, and when's the best time to use your standard hits. Because if you're going against someone like Weavile, good luck. Just saying. And if you're going against Machamp, try not to guard so much. Try not to guard so much because it will use command grab. So I recommend using like Kyosei counters for him, but I don't know. All right, so enough about that. So I went to Reddit because like apparently one of the mods in subreddit Smash Brothers made a subreddit for Pokken Tournament, and I said, hey, I'll probably like people ask me ask me about stuff related to Pokken Tournament, so I'm gonna go read them off to you. Now, this one user named Gaming Justice says, well, from watching some matches from here and there, the gameplay looks so smooth. I'm a sucker for pretty cuts and whatnot, and every fight looks like it's made to be played just like that. Everything just connects so easily. Is the gameplay as smooth as it looks? Oh yeah, the game is smooth. So even though like the game's it's hard to get used to, but the gameplay is in fact smooth. Like, well, if you see it on the stream, then yes, it's exactly as smooth as it looks. But even though the game is kind of strange, because if you play other fighting games, if you play other fighting games, Pokken's kind of weird. Because, I'll say right now, here's what I think like Pokken Tournament can be compared to. Now, compared to Smash, it does have the same face buttons, A, B, X, A, B, Y, and X. However, unless you map up the buttons in Smash to be a specific weird way, that's really hard to get used to. So if you're used to Smash, don't play Pokken Tournament. Because, well, no, don't play Pokken Tournament immediately after Smash. Like, once it comes out on console, don't play Pokken Tournament immediately after Smash, because it will be hard to get used to. You have to adjust. Alright, some buttons do things you think would do on Smash, except for the fact that there's two attacks: light attack, heavy attack. Other fighting games, like let's say Marvel, because I know Marvel has a four button layout. However, instead of like light punch, light kick, heavy kick, there's only one button for light and heavy. And also it has an assist. So if you use your assist button, I know Marvel 2 and 3 have I know Marvel 2 at least have like two buttons to your assists. I don't know about Marvel 1 though, and I never played Marvel. I think I have played Marvel 3 once, but I never really got used to it. But that's it. For other fighting games, like in general, you fill up a gauge, the burst gauge, which you'll notice that aside from your character, there's like a gauge, it's like a rainbow gauge. That's your burst gauge. And of course, once you activate it, you go to your Dissidia EX mode, and then press the buttons again, do your final smash. And just so you know, from one of my matches against Chris G, whoever, let's say two characters do their EX burst, if I want to say it, their final smash, EX burst, whatever. Whoever does the move last, like, because he goes a certain order, how, like in Marvel 3, how, let's say you press at the same time, one person activates it, and then another person does it. Whoever does it last gets the hit. I don't know if that's the case, or that my Gardevoir is slightly out of range, from, Machamps that I got to hit, but, I assume it's whoever does it last gets the priority. Which and again, like I said earlier, once you use your burst attack, you don't get out of burst mode. But I don't think you can use your burst attack again for all I know, because I think that was enough time to actually use it twice. I don't think so. Next is Tekken. How in the kind of like the idea of how you use combos is like, I think the speed's similar to Tekken. I can't say for sure. I think the speed is similar to Tekken. Now, there's another thing. The whole 3D mode that Tekken doesn't have. I've noticed like on that subreddit, I personally compare it to the Naruto fighters. So if you like played the Naruto games, you can kind of get used to Pokken Tournament. I'll tell you right now, Night's Commander, I can assure you that Pokken Tournament is slower than Naruto, but it plays similar to it. I'll tell you right now. Because Pokken Tournament plays more similar to Naruto than Tekken, which is weird. So it feels like the Naruto games with the character speedish of Tekken, and the idea of how to do combo stuff from Tekken. The same person asked me like how the transition. When I first went into there, I didn't even know transition was there. That's how good it was. It's so good, I didn't even notice nor care that the transition was there. That's how good it is. Now, I'll tell you right now, I guess the hardest part, probably the hardest part, when it comes to the transition or either one separately, is the D-pad. Because, like, the D-pad doesn't really, like, because since, let's say God of War has a move where, like I said, it's Calm Mind, where you press back and A. Now, back in the 3D version is down because it's on perspective. It's on 3D perspective. So you press down because down's behind you. However, in the dual phase, it's left because it's a 2D fighter at this point. So the game doesn't tell you. You know the game controls. The game controls doesn't tell you. Oh, it's left or down in A. It's back. They tell you it's D-pad and then parentheses back and A. And then X for the sidekick. So, just so you know, be wary of the D-pad during the transitions. Because the D-pad might actually mess you up. More than what you might think it does. Other than that, the game feels exactly the same without even realizing it's different. Okay, now someone else, which is, oh my god, the next person just asked the question I just answered. However, I think it's 1338H4X. Now, I just said about the whole D-pad thing, but he also says that he feels quite salty how they initially advertised the game as Tekken, but it seems to have taken a backseat to Naruto. Kind of. I'll say kind of. How the thing is, Naruto is a lot faster than Pokken Tournament, but it's like the speed of Tekken in a Naruto game. And that's it. But the speed against like the not freedom Naruto, because Naruto has a lot of like a wide arena, but Tekken does not. Something like that. Let's see here. Someone else asked one of my thoughts on Gardevoir, which I just mentioned. He also says, Sleepy Icarus, by the way. She seems to have a hard time with rushdown characters, and I will say right now, Gardevoir does have a hard time against rushdowns. Because if you look at the freaking the World Championships, Gardevoir got eliminated. Gardevoir was the first to be eliminated, and both against like the more rushdown characters like Weavile, and I forgot who the other one was. I forgot who Gardevoir got eliminated by. Was it Machamp or Suicune? I don't remember. But yeah, Gardevoir has a hard time against characters like Weavile, characters like Machamp, or even characters like Blaziken. But against like other characters like maybe Suicune, I don't know about Pikachu. I think Pikachu would be worse. I don't know about Charizard. I don't know about Lucario, but Gardevoir does have a hard time against characters like Weavile and Machamp. I'll say right now, that's it. Let's see who else. Okay, so someone else DM'd the person. I guess says like someone who likes fighting and never got a Tekken. It seems really confusing. So, like me, he spent most of those matches trying to figure out what's going on, how do things work. Some moves are bizarrely safe on blocks, huge specials. But yeah, there is kind of the game's kind of confusing to get used to. So he actually asks, like, what are the Kyosei attack and counter moves, and what does the A plus guard mechanics do? Like I mentioned, it's like the rapid resistance mechanic, where guard does exactly what we think it is. The Kyosei attack is a move that beats guards, and then the Kyosei counter beats the move that beats guards. So if it's against Machamp, I think it's a good idea to use a lot of the Kyosei counters, because Chris G likes to use this command grab, which is kind of the Kyosei attack. So just saying. what else? Oh, about combos. Now, I don't know, I can't really say about combos, but, a lot of other characters like Blaziken really do have a lot of combo potential. The character playing was it Blaziken or Pikachu? One of the two. Had like a flawless victory, and it was pretty awesome. Like how it was like hit after hit after hit, and try to get out for a while just so, I don't know, do stuff. But it is possible to do combos. It's not too difficult, but especially because we worry about moves, about blocking and kill state attack, etc. Okay, so that's my thoughts and answers to people's questions about Pokken Tournament. If you have any other questions about Pokken Tournament, based on what I know, you could comment if you want. Now, again, I really hope that things get really good with Pokken Tournament, especially when it eventually comes to consoles. I really hope that there's some local and online multiplayer. Actually, believe it or not, I know for a fact there's online multiplayer because the arcade itself says so. I kid you not, the arcade itself says that there is an online mode that on the arcade, no less. So I'll guarantee you that if the arcades have online, surely the console will too. Now about local multiplayer, I don't know. For local multiplayer, I mean, like Tekken, I think both Tekken and Naruto have like local multiplayer that doesn't seem to take away from. I think Naruto does not have split screen when you have multiplayer, but I don't know because I never played the Naruto games. Chris can help me on that one, but I think the same thing will happen here, in which like maybe say player 1 because the main focus, and then player 2 can be like wherever what player 1's facing. I don't know. That's just my educated guess based on other fighting games. It's very funny. I never really didn't say anything about other characters. Like I didn't mention about Pikachu Libre, but I got nothing other than Tuesday Pikachu Libre. It's just as long as Pika Libre doesn't take away from Hawlucha. Now there are characters I want to be playable in Pokken Tournament, but I can't really say who they are because I don't know the answer myself. Maybe like a character with a club or sword, maybe like Marowak or Gallade, or heck, maybe Farfetch'd for all I care. Heck, it would be hilarious if Farfetch'd in the game would end up being top tier. But that's pretty much my main thoughts of Pokken Tournament. I got nothing more to say. Again, if you have any questions, comments, whatever, if you have any opinions so far, what you saw, go ahead. I guess I'll see you guys next time for the thoughts on. Later.